Good morning to all the webinar team members, my dear colleagues, teachers, and dear students. Welcome all to the webinar session on first year economics. So, students, in the previous session, part one of market structures, market analysis, like the types of market, definition of markets, what is perfect market, imperfect market, monopoly, and likewise different topics have been covered in the previous session. So students, now in this particular session, in depth, the analysis of different markets, how a firm operates and decides its level of output, equilibrium output, how the price at a particular price, how much output the company, the firm decides to sell in order to keep its profits, in what position the firm will earn under losses, in what position the firm will earn under profits, how the firm decides, what are the conditions for deciding the equilibrium output, price. Likewise, the topics will be dealt in this particular session. So students, it's a very interesting session. Okay, the thing is, many questions will be coming in examination from this particular topic, market analysis. So to present this particular topic, I take pleasure in inviting T.RAMA madam for presenting this particular topic. Madam is presently working as postgraduate teacher in economics in Telangana Model School, Chegunta in Medak district. Madam has done her BA vocational from St. Francis Degree College for Women, MA Economics from Usmania University, BD from Gandhian College of Education. And we find that Madam is having a vast teaching experience of 13 years. And also she has worked as FAC principal in Model School for 1 year. She has received the state level award for 100% results in school, a great achievement on part of Madam. Presently, she is a digital class state resource person in social studies. So what are the classes which are seeing in Doordarshan, TSAT, okay, Madam is taking up those classes also. So we are very pleased, we are extremely proud to have Madam before us for presentation. So with this brief introduction, now I invite Madam for the presentation. Over to you, Ramadevi Madam.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. And a warm welcome to all the webinar team members, principals, and my dear students for the webinar session of first year intermediate economics. Before I begin the session, I would like to thank Additional Director Sir, Joint Director Sir, principals, and my school principal, Bhupal Sir also, for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Let me begin the session. Good morning, children. So I thank Rahman sir, my subject coordinator, and even Ranjita ma'am for giving me this wonderful opportunity. So here, let's begin the session now. Let's have a quick recapitulation of part one. So in part one, you have studied about introduction to market analysis, meaning of market, classification of markets, differences between perfect competition and imperfect competition, and characteristics of perfect competition. So today we shall discuss in detail of market analysis. So let's see the learning objectives of today's session. By the end of the session, you will be able to explain the price determination under perfect competition, analyze the meaning of imperfect competition, emphasize the meaning of monopoly, explain about monopolistic competition, and brief about duopoly and oligopoly. So children, I think all these terminologies are very new to you, but this is going to be very interesting and you're going to learn very easily. So let's start with price determination under perfect competition. Look at the image. So what is this, children? This is a market. So what do we see in the market? We see sellers and also buyers, isn't it? So market brings a balance between sellers and buyers. But under perfect competition, sellers and buyers cannot decide the price. So who decides the price under perfect competition? So here, if you look at this picture, what is this? These are onions we regularly use, isn't it? So these onions are produced by farmers. Okay. So what is industry? Suppose there are many farmers in a farm, like farmers or firms also we can say. Like here we are taking example of farmers. So many farmers are producing same kind of product. What is the product here? Onions. So all the farmers who are producing onions come under one industry. So what industry it is? It is onion manufacturing industry or producing industry. Okay. So as I told you, under perfect competition, buyers or sellers cannot decide the price. So here, who decides the price? It is the industry. Industry decides the price in the market of this particular good. So what is the good? It is onions. Okay. So let's see how it is done. In a market, the market brings balance between commodities that come for sale and commodities demanded by the consumer. So the market depends on the forces of supply and demand. So forces of supply and demand determine the price of the good. So supply plus demand is equal to price of a good in the market. Okay. So now let us see equilibrium price determination. So I told you that industry decides the price. But how does industry decide the price? How does it come to a conclusion that this should be the price for that commodity? So based on the supply and also the demand, the price can be determined. So let us see one example. So as I told you, we are taking example of onions. Okay. So this is a table showing demand and supply schedule. Okay. So what is shown here? Price in rupees, quantity supplied in kgs, and quantity demanded in kgs. Okay. So let me take the example of onion again. So onion, suppose the price of onion is 10 rupees. So what is the quantity supplied? It is 20. And what is the quantity demanded here? It is 60. So when the price is less, the supply is also less, but demand is more for that product. Okay. So as the price increases, it is increasing from 10 rupees to 20 rupees. So when the price is increasing, the price of onion is increasing from 10 to 20. Then what about the supply? Supply also increases because supply and price, they are directly proportional to each other. Okay. Then what about demand? Demand is inversely proportional to price. That means if the price is increasing, demand is decreasing. Can you see here? It is decreasing from 60 to 50. So in the same way, when the onion price is 30 rupees, supply is 40, demand is also 40. Then when the price is 40, supply is 50, it has increased, and demand is decreased to 30. And when the price is 50 rupees, the supply is 60 kgs and demand is 20 kgs. So for 50 rupees, the demand has decreased to 20 kgs. Okay. So here, how does the industry decides the price? Based on the equilibrium. So where is the equilibrium point? At rupees 30. When the price is 30 rupees, onions supplied are 40 kgs and demanded are also 40 kgs. So when the supply and demand both are equal, this gives the equilibrium price of the product. Okay. So now let me explain you with the help of a graph. So always we have x-axis and y-axis on a graph. Okay. So on x-axis, what is shown on x-axis? Quantity supplied and demanded. And on y-axis, it is price is shown on the y-axis. So what is the price? Rupees 30. And what is the quantity demanded and supplied? It is 40 kgs. So this point is known as equilibrium point. Okay, so supply. The supply curve, as I told you, as the price increases, supply also increases. This is the supply curve, SS curve. Okay, so it is sloping upwards from left to right. And demand, as the price decreases, as the price increases, the demand decreases. So the slope is downwards from left to right. Okay, did you understand? So what is the equilibrium point? Where the quantity OQ is sold at rupees 30 price. This is the equilibrium point. So in this way, price is determined under perfect competition. Then equilibrium. How does a firm get equilibrium? Equilibrium of a firm. As I told you, price of a commodity is determined by the forces of supply and demand. So an increase in price of the product acts as an incentive to increase production. When the price is increasing, supply is also increasing. Supply means what? Production. Production is also increasing. Then as firm aims at maximizing profit, it chooses that output which maximizes its profit. So any firm, it aims, what is the aim of the firm? To maximize the profit. So what kind of output is chosen by the firm? The output which gives maximum profit. Okay. Then when the firm is in equilibrium, it has no desire to change its output. So equilibrium means what? Equal. Both supply and demand are equal. So at this point, there is no need to change the output. Let us see in detail about equilibrium output. Equilibrium output can be understood with the help of two curves. What are those? Cost curve and revenue curve. So cost curve can also be understood under two headings, that is average cost curve and marginal cost curve. Even revenue curve also can be understood like average revenue curve and marginal revenue curve. So if you look at these terms, so I think you have already learned in production analysis. These are the concepts which were introduced in production analysis. So if you have any doubt on these, please go through it again. And I'm going to give you a brief explanation about this. So equilibrium output is obtained by two curves, with the help of two curves. What are those? Cost curve and revenue curve. So what is cost curve? A cost curve is a graph of the cost of production. So what is this? It is showing the graph of cost of production. Cost of production means what? Amount spent on the factors of production. What are the factors of production? Land, labor, organization, and entrepreneur. So four factors of production. So whatever income is spent on the factors of production, it is shown in a graph. So this is cost curve. As you can see, this is the total cost curve. This is total variable cost curve. And here you can see total fixed cost curve. Okay. And cost curve also shows the function of total quantity produced. Next is we have marginal cost and average cost. So average cost can be obtained by using the formula total cost divided by total number of goods. So cost curve, average cost can be obtained by total cost divided by total number of goods. And here marginal cost. Marginal cost is what? It is the additional cost spent or additional amount spent on the extra unit of output. Marginal is always the additional point which you are spending or receiving. So here, what is the shape of the curve? U shape. AC, that is average cost, is U shape. And MC, marginal cost, is upward sloping. Okay. Then what is the next one? Revenue curve. Revenue means income. So revenue is the income generated from the sale of goods and services in a market. So whatever goods are sold in the market, whatever income is generated by selling the goods in the market and services in the market, it is known as revenue. Okay. Average revenue or AR is equal to price per unit. So average revenue is also called as price per unit. And how it is obtained? Total revenue divided by output gives average revenue or price per unit. The average revenue curve is the same as the demand curve. Under perfect competition, as you can see here, the demand curve, average revenue and marginal revenue, they are on the same line. They are parallel to OX axis. And marginal revenue is equal to, or the change in revenue from selling one extra unit of output. So marginal means additional. Whatever income, additional income is generated by the sale of one extra unit of output gives marginal revenue. So under perfect competition, price, demand, AR and MR are on the same line. Equilibrium of a firm. Equilibrium of a firm is divided into two parts: short period equilibrium and long period equilibrium. So let us understand in detail. Short period equilibrium. What is short run equilibrium in perfect competition? A short run equilibrium is a situation in which, given the firms in the market, the price is such that the total amount the firms wish to supply is equal to total amount the consumers wish to demand. So here also, price, how the price is determined in the short period equilibrium. So it shows the market situation where the total amount of firms wish to supply, same like the forces of supply and forces of demand, should be equal. So here the price is determined where S is equal to D. So under short period equilibrium, all the factors of production cannot be changed. Let me explain you with an example. Generally, firms, they are into business. Like every firm does some or the other business. So why are they into business? To earn some profits, to earn some income, right? So here in the short period equilibrium, firms cannot change fixed factors of production. So what are the fixed factors of production? Like machinery, building. These are fixed factors. So in the short period, to obtain equilibrium, firms cannot change fixed factors. Then how does it increase the profits or attain equilibrium in the short period? To attain equilibrium, the firm changes variable factors. What are variable factors? Like labor, raw materials, etc., which can vary, which can be changed in the short period. So by changing the variable factors, firms can attain equilibrium. Okay, did you understand? Equilibrium output is produced in the short period where short period marginal cost SMC is equal to short period marginal revenue SMR. So there are two conditions for the firm to attain equilibrium. So what are the two conditions? SMC must be equal to SMR. What is SMC? Short period marginal cost. And what is SMR? Short period marginal revenue. Cost should be equal to revenue. That means amount spent and amount received, income received. Both should be equal. And the next condition is MC curve cuts MR curve from below. So these two conditions will help the firm to attain equilibrium point. During short period, a firm may get supernormal profits or losses under perfect competition. So let me explain you with example. Price determination under perfect competition. What are the two conditions? MC is equal to MR and MC curve must curve MR curve from below. So here you can see this is AC average cost and this is MC marginal cost. So what this is the first condition, that is MC is equal to MR. Okay, and this is the equilibrium point. Second condition is MC curve must cut MR curve from below. This is the second condition for a firm to be in equilibrium. Another example, here you can see two figures. Figure A shows the industry and figure B shows firm. So as we have studied earlier, that industry decides the price under perfect competition. So let us see the figure here. In figure A, on OX axis, quantity demanded and supplied are shown on OX axis and price is shown on OY axis. In figure B, quantity of output is shown on OX axis, cost and revenue are shown on OY axis. So here, by the forces of supply and demand, the industry attains equilibrium point. So as we have seen, the onions at rupees 30 price, the onions demanded and supplied are 40 kgs. So at this price, the farmers have to sell their onions. Thus, this price is fixed by the industry. So this is the equilibrium point. Now here B is showing the firm. So here, if we take the example of farmers, we are showing the farmers here. Okay. So now the price fixed by the industry is passed to the firm. Right. So this price, what is the price? 30 rupees is the price passed on to the firms. And they need to sell at this price only. So here it is shown by a horizontal line, that is the demand curve. Okay, this is the demand curve. And this line is known as price line. So here, what is the point where MC is equal to MR? So profits are maximum or the firms can attain equilibrium where SMC is equal to SMR. So this is the equilibrium point. So for a firm to obtain equilibrium point, the first condition is SMC is equal to SMR. Right. At any output less than OQ, SMR will be greater than SMC. Firm will have profits. Suppose OQ is the output at OP price. So suppose the OQ is reduced. The output OQ is reduced to OQ1. Suppose it has reduced to OQ1. Then what happens? SMC is less than, cost is less than revenue. So when cost is, expenditure is less than revenue, the firm will have profits. At any output more than OQ, now we have seen when the OQ output is less, SMC is less than SMR. So the firm will attain, incur profits. But if the output has increased from here OQ to OQ2, then what happens? SMC will be greater than SMR. That means cost is more than revenue. Expenditure is more than revenue. So when expenditure is more, what happens to the firm? It incurs losses. Okay. So here, this is the equilibrium point. So at what price? OP is the price and OQ is the output. OQ is the output of maximum profits, means the firm will have equilibrium. Then point E, this is the equilibrium point, and OP or QA, this is the price. Average cost per unit is QB. See, this is the average cost. And profit per unit is AB or PA, or you can also say CP or PC. Total supernormal profits. What are the total supernormal profits? So under perfect competition, we have seen that the firm gets supernormal profits. So what are those? P, A, B, C. This is the total normal profits, supernormal profits. And how it is obtained? By multiplying PABC into, BA into OQ. PABC is a supernormal profits. It is obtained by multiplying BA. What is BA? Profit per unit into output. What is output? OQ. Okay. And this is a very important question for your board exam, children. So that is short period equilibrium. Now, long period equilibrium. So we have seen that in short period, all the inputs cannot be changed. All the factors of production cannot be changed. In long term is the period in which the firm can vary all of its inputs. So what inputs can be changed? Like fixed factors can be changed and even the variable factors. There are no fixed costs and therefore the average fixed cost or average fixed cost curve vanishes. Represents average total cost curve. So AC is equal to ATC. It is a total cost curve. So further, since the firm can vary all its inputs, it can close down and leave the industry. So whichever firm is unable to gain profits, what will the firm do? It can leave the firm in the long period, okay? Not in the short period. In the long period, the firm will be in equilibrium where LMC is equal to LMR and LMC cuts LMR curve from below. What is LMC? Long period marginal cost. So again, the same conditions are applied here also. What are the two conditions? LMC, long period marginal cost, is equal to long period marginal revenue. And long period marginal cost cuts long period marginal revenue from below. Firm gets only normal profits since the price is equal to AC, that is average cost. So in the long period under perfect competition, firm will get normal profits. Okay. So how it is possible? Because price is equal to average cost. In other words, under perfect competition, the individual firm at equilibrium earns normal profits only. That is where LAR is equal to LMR, which is equal to LAC and which is equal to LMC. So here in the long period, the firm will get normal profits only. Now let us look at the graph here. So on OX axis, quantity of output is shown on OX axis. Price, cost, and revenue are shown on OY axis. So what are the conditions? LMC should be equal to LMR. You can see the point here. This is the equilibrium point where LMC is equal to LMR. And also LMC cuts LMR from below. And in here, LMC is also equal to LAC. So all these are on the same line. That is price, LMC, LAC, LAR, and LMR. This is possible in long period equilibrium under perfect competition. So till now we have discussed about perfect competition. But in reality, perfect competition is not possible. It is an imaginary concept. So next type of market is imperfect competition. So in reality, market situation will have imperfect competition. So what it is? It is a competitive market situation where there are many sellers, but they are selling heterogeneous goods as opposed to perfect competitive market scenario. So in perfect competition, we have seen that there are many uh, buyers and sellers. There are a large number of buyers and sellers, and they sell homogeneous goods. What are homogeneous? Same kind of product. So we have seen onions. All the firms are producing onions. But here, in imperfect competition, here also there are many sellers. But they sell heterogeneous goods. What are heterogeneous? Differentiated goods. Like you can see here in the picture, they are all homogeneous. That means they are soaps, okay? But they're not identical. They are different, okay? What is this? This is a soap, Imperial Leather. This is Dove. This is Lux. So they all are soaps, but they are not identical. So what happens? There is a lot of competition among these firms, isn't it? Depending on the size of the sellers in the market, imperfect competition is classified into 4 types: monopoly, monopolistic competition, oligopoly, and duopoly. These are very interesting topics, children. So let us begin with monopoly. Monopoly. What is monopoly? Mono means single, poly means seller. That means single seller. Right? So what are the features of monopoly? Just one supplier. Monopolist is the only one supplier who supplies the product. Since one supplier, there is no competition. And monopolist, he's a monopolist. He is a boss. He controls the price. No close substitutes to this good. So whatever goods are produced by the monopolist, there are no close substitutes. Like for example, we have seen soaps, different soaps are there. So they are close substitutes to each other. Only the brands are different. But under monopoly, they do not have any close substitutes. They are the only single producers. Industry and firm is one and the same. Whereas we have seen in perfect competition, industry is different, firms is different. But under monopoly, both are same. Monopolist aims at maximum profit with minimum cost. So for example, Facebook. Facebook is the only single seller, and even Google. Okay, so these are monopolists, and they come under monopoly market. So there is no competition for this. So how monopoly can attain equilibrium and how price is determined? Equilibrium and price determination under monopoly. Price, output, and profits under monopoly are determined by the forces of demand and supply of a good. So same like perfect competition, these price here also price is determined. Price, output, and profits, they are determined by the forces of supply and demand. Monopolist will have complete control of the supply of the product. So he can control the supply and he can also control the price to attain maximum profit. But he cannot do both the things simultaneously. So either he can fix the price and leave the output to be determined by the consumer demand at this price. So monopoly can control price and output, but not both at the same time. If he fixes the price, he has to leave the output to the consumer's demand at that price. So whatever price is fixed, for that price, what is the demand of the consumer? So that has to be left to the consumers. Then If he fixes the output, then he has to leave the price to be determined by the consumer demand for his product. So either he will fix the price and leave the output to the consumer's demand, or he will fix the output, how much quantity has to be produced, and leave the price to the consumer's demand for his product. Okay. So here also same conditions are applicable as in perfect competition to attain equilibrium. What are those? MC should be equal to MR and MC curve must cut MR curve from below. Okay. Now let us see with the help of a graph. Quantity of output is shown on OX axis. Cost and revenue are shown on OY axis. Price determination under monopoly is done by using AR and MR curves. So this is AR curve and this is MR curve. What is AR? Average revenue. And what is MR? Marginal revenue. So price determination under monopoly can be done by using these two curves, revenue curves. The monopolist will go on producing. And what is this? This is MC curve, marginal cost. So the monopolist, he goes on producing till the marginal revenue is more than MC curve. So here you can see the equilibrium point. Okay. Yes. Till the marginal revenue, this is the marginal revenue and this is the marginal cost. So the monopolist, he goes on producing the output till marginal revenue is greater than marginal cost. And what is the equilibrium point? Where MC and MR intersect with each other. They cut. MC curve cuts MR curve from below. And the other thing is MC should be equal to MR. Okay. So his profits will be maximum and attain equilibrium at the level where MR is equal to MC. So this is the equilibrium point where MC is equal to MR. If he stops at level where MR is equal to MC, then what will happen if he stops producing till here? As he has attained equilibrium, if he stops producing, then what will happen? These are the extra profit he has to forego. Okay, he has to give up these extra profits. So that's why the monopolist goes on producing where MR is greater than MC. If he stops at MC is equal to MR at OQ output. This is the output. OQ is output where MC is equal to MR and this is the equilibrium point. If he increases his output beyond OQ, MR will be less than MC. Therefore, monopolist will incur loss. So this OQ is the output where the monopolist attain equilibrium. Suppose he has increased the output here till here, OQ1. Then what happens here? MC will be greater than MR. So when MC is greater than MR, the firm will incur loss. Monopolist will face loss. Equilibrium point OQ is sold. So OQ is the output. At which price it is sold? OP price and or QA price. And QB is the average cost. AB or CP is the profit per unit. And here, this is the profits obtained by the monopoly. And how these profits are obtained? PABC is the total profits. It is obtained by multiplying PC, that is profit per unit, into OQ, that is the output. So CP into output gives total profits made by monopolist. So what are the total profits? PABC. Okay, did you understand? Now let us see the comparison between perfect competition and monopoly. Perfect competition. There are large number of sellers and large number of buyers. Under monopoly, single seller and many buyers. Free entry and free exit of the firms, no scope for entry and exit. Homogeneous products are produced here. The product may or may not be homogeneous. Homogeneous means same. Perfect substitute goods and no close substitute of goods. Difference between industry and firm. So industry and firm are different in perfect competition. Whereas under monopoly, industry and firm are one and the same. Buyers and sellers have to accept the price which is determined in the industry. They are not the price makers. So we have seen that under perfect competition, industry decides the price. So industry is the price maker. And buyers and sellers, they have to accept the price determined by the industry. Seller can determine, under monopoly, seller can determine either the price or the quantity of output, but not both. Uniform price prevails for the goods as there are homogeneous. Since they are selling the homogeneous goods, the price is also uniform for all the goods. Price varies depending on demand. Price, AR and MR are the same. This line is parallel to OX axis. AR, MR curves are different. These curves will have downward slope. P is equal to, what is P? Price. Price is equal to average revenue, which is equal to marginal revenue. And here, price is equal to average revenue greater than marginal revenue. So this is the difference between perfect competition and monopoly. What is the next type of market? Under imperfect competition, monopolistic competition. So under the monopolistic competition, there are large number of firms that produce differentiated products which are close substitutes for each other. In other words, large sellers selling the products that are similar but not identical compete with each other on other factors besides price. So here they are selling, there are many firms, many sellers, and they are selling homogeneous goods, but they are not identical. So as I have given you the previous example of soaps, they are all soap, isn't it? But they are not identical. They are differentiated. Okay. So let me explain with the examples. Here you can see the picture here, taxis. This is restaurant, hairdressing, clothing, hotels, toilet tissue papers, etc. All these come under monopolistic competition. So here the cabs, if I take example of cabs, in India we have Ola, Uber, etc. Okay, so these are all homogeneous goods. That means they are cabs, but they are not identical, and they compete with each other. They have rivalry on each other. Means if one firm is increasing or decreasing in price, it has influence on the other firm also. Okay, so they are interdependent on each other. Let us see the characteristics of monopolistic competition. There are large number of firms, product differentiation is there, freedom of entry and exit of firms is possible, competitive advertisements or selling cost, more elastic demand. So let me explain in detail each characteristic of monopolistic competition. The large number of firms. The number of firms in this market is large. The firms may have monopoly power to a certain extent. Considerable number of producers participate in the production. No one producer controls the total output in the market as a result of high competition. So here they are individual firms. They have monopoly power, but they cannot control the complete output because there is high competition among each firm or the producers. Next characteristic is product differentiation. So here what you see here, these are chocolates. And what is the brand here? It is Cadbury. So under Cadbury, there are different firms producing same chocolate, but they are different from each other. Like Dairy Milk 5-star, gems, perk, etc. So each firm is producing the same good. Chocolate is produced, but they're not identical. There is some difference among these products. So in the same way, Nestle, you have extra smooth Kit Kat Dark, Alpino, etc. So these are also different firms under one industry, that is Nestle. That is product differentiation. Freedom of entry and exit of firm. Suppose whatever price is fixed by the industry, if the firm is unable to accept it or firm is facing some loss, then it can exit or enter. Sorry, new firms can enter the industry if they are willing to go with the price. And old firms can exit from the industry. So if the firm is facing some loss, it can leave the industry. And new firms can enter the industry. Competitive advertisements or selling cost. So what are selling costs? The amount spent on advertisements. So we see a lot of advertisements every day. So why it is done? Because of heavy competition to increase their sales. Each firm gives advertisements in a different way to attract the consumers. We also see celebrities also give these advertisements. So here, amount spent on advertisement is high to face the competition. See, for example, brand A and brand B. Here we are taking the same product. What is the product here? It is soft drink. Okay, so you have number of soft drinks, but here they compete with each other. So to face the competition and increase their sales, they give advertisements. So here you can see captions are also different for each brand. Okay, here also you can see thumbs up, taste the thunder. This is a famous caption. So in this way, the firms increase their sales. More elastic demand. So the demand is elastic when there are they have close substitutes, and demand is inelastic when there are no close substitutes. See, for example, if you take Monopoly market, the demand is inelastic. So why it is inelastic? Because there are no close substitutes, no competition for this. But under monopolistic competition, demand is elastic because there is a lot of competition. Firm and industry. So in perfect competition, firm and industry are different. But under imperfect competition, under monopolistic competition, industry and firm are same. And industry is called a group. Next type of market is oligopoly. Oligos, the word oligos means a few sellers, and poly means to sell. So there are few sellers in the market. Oligopoly refers to a market situation in which a few sellers deal with homogeneous or differentiated product. So here few sellers are there. They produce either homogeneous goods or differentiated products. It is also known as competition among the few. Each firm has a direct and ascertainable influence upon other firms in the industry. So suppose one firm is decreasing the price. So it has direct or indirect influence on the other firm. So if suppose it has increased the price, then also it has some influence on the other firms. So since there are few sellers here, every firm has influence on the other firm. Features of oligopoly. There are few sellers of the product. There is an interdependence among the firms, presence of monopoly power and the presence of true competition, existence of price rigidity, and excessive expenditure on advertisement. So to increase the sales, as we have discussed, they spend a lot of amount on the advertisements. So what is this price rigidity? Few firms in the market, they fix their price. for a certain period of time. They do not change. Price rigidity means the price is not changing. So this can be explained with the help of kinked demand curve. And kinked demand curve was developed by Professor Paul M. Sweezy. It explains the price rigidity under oligopoly market. There are two assumptions here. If a firm reduces the price, competitors follow it and neutralize the expected gain. So suppose firm A is reducing the price. Then this has influence on firm B also. What does the firm B do? It also reduces or it maintains or keeps the price rigid. Okay, in this way, it neutralizes the expected gain. Whatever gain is being expected by the firm A is neutralized because the other firm is not increasing the price. If a firm increases the price, the rival firms do not follow it. So if the price is reduced, the rival firms follow it. But if it is not increased or if it is increasing, the rival firms will not follow it. So let us see with the example of a kinked demand curve. You can see in this graph, OQ is the output and OP is the price. Here, this is the equilibrium point. And suppose firm A or firm is increasing the price. So here the price has increased from P to P1. Then what happens to the demand here? It becomes elastic of the other firm. Suppose the price is reduced. Here, the demand becomes less elastic. It is not inelastic, it becomes less elastic compared to when price is increased. So here, this equilibrium point gives a kink. Kink means the stickiness of price, where the price is not changing. So this is the kink demand curve. Next type of market is duopoly. Duopoly is derived from Greek word. Duo means two, poly means to sell. So how many sellers are there here? Two sellers. It is specific type of oligopoly where only two producers exist in the market. They have full domination over the market. It is called as limited form of duopoly. So this is a specific type of oligopoly where only two producers are there, only two sellers in the market. So since only two sellers, they have complete domination over the market. The goods produced by the producers may or may not be homogeneous or it may be differentiated. As there are only two producers, both are influenced and the decision of one will affect the other. Rivalry and collusion of the producers are possible in this market situation. For example, now present situation, the pandemic situation, we are the complete world is in need of a vaccine. So because we are facing a serious problem, the serious virus that is COVID. Okay, so here I'm explaining you about the duopoly. So duopoly means two sellers. So in here, India has launched the world's biggest vaccination drive with two made in India vaccine. What are the two vaccines made in India? Covishield and Covaxin. So these are the two vaccines which have been introduced or launched in our country. Covishield is made by Serum Institute of India, SII, and Covaxin is manufactured by Bharat Biotech. So who are the two producers here? SII, Serum Institute of India, and Bharat Biotech. So since only two producers are there, each are influenced by other one. Okay, so characteristics of duopoly under Carnot's model. Many models were being introduced. The most important one is Carnot's model. The earliest duopoly model was developed in year 1883 by the French economist Augustin Carnot. Carnot illustrated his model with the example of two firms. According to the model, the two sellers will have mean behavior and they never learn from the previous patterns of reaction of rival. So that since there are two producers, and here these two producers have naive behavior. That means they are not aware of the others' actions. So they have innocent behavior, due to which they are not uh, um, adjusting their production or the output. As a result, each firm produces one-third of the total output. Together, they cover two-thirds of the total market. Each firm maximizes its profits, but profit of industry will not be maximized. This happens due to non-recognition of their interdependence. So these two firms are interdependent on each other, but they are not aware of it. They have naive behavior, that is, they are innocent of the other firm. So what is the production? They produce only one-third of the total output. And on the whole, two-thirds of the total market is produced. So firm may get profits, but industry do not get the profits because they are not recognizing their interdependence. Characteristics of duopoly under Connock's model: there will be two independent sellers, homogeneous product, zero production cost, and sellers do not recognize their interdependence. So with this, we come to the end of our chapter. Let's have a quick recapitulation of what we have discussed. We have discussed about the price determination and perfect competition. We have also learned about imperfect competition, monopoly, comparison between perfect competition and monopoly, monopolistic competition, oligopoly, and duopoly. Evaluation. Children, these questions are very important for your board exam. This is a compulsory question for 10 marks. Explain the meaning of perfect competition. Illustrate the mechanism of price determination under perfect competition. This will come for 10 marks question. What are the characteristics of monopolistic competition? Will come for 5 marks. And what is oligopoly? Explain its characteristics. A 5 marks question. And 2 marks questions are: what is duopoly? What are selling costs? And what is product differentiation? So with this, we have completed the complete chapter, market analysis. I hope the session was interesting for you. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Madam, thank you, madam, for a very good presentation, excellent presentation by you, madam. You used all the slides and all relevant examples are given here. Latest examples, the explanation has been taken up. So very good, madam. Now, students, okay, you have understood the complete concept of market, how the markets have been divided, and what are the characteristics in each market we see, and how the firm decides, okay, being in each market, how they decide their output and price. This all has been explained here. Now, practically, this is all what we see is this all the explanation, the characteristics. This is seen in the real life market. Suppose, for example, in a village, there is only a single hotel and you have no other option. If you want to have any breakfast or so on, then you have to go to that particular hotel itself. So that is also one type of market. That is that hotel okay, enjoys one category of market. That is monopoly market. That means whatever the price that particular hotel person charges you, you have to pay it because you have no other option. You cannot go anywhere else. So likewise, so what we have read till now, what have been completed in this particular session, this is all practical oriented. We see in real life. Even if you look at the televisions daily, okay, like you see number of channels running. How come they are running? Because there are different manufacturers who are sponsoring their programs. They are taking up advertisements. Because of this advertisement, we find that they are able to run their channels. So advertisement is what? We find that every firm, almost every firm, they advertise their products in the market. What is this? The expenditure on this, it is nothing but it is called a selling cost. So as the firm increases the advertisement, the sales, the revenue from the sales will increase. So that's why they are spending so much on the advertisement. So likewise, we find that different category of markets has been clearly explained by madam. So with this, we come to the end of the 5th unit. Markets chapter is completed. I hope all the students have understood it. Okay, what is market types and the price output determination. So basically, you have to learn here how to draw the graphs, the diagrams, the cost curves, how it changes, what has to be taken on x-axis, what has to be taken on y-axis. So this all you have to practice it. You have to once again refer the textbook, go through the presentation once again, and prepare the notes. And very soon we'll be having a physical class. Okay, so from 1st February we are going to take up your coming to classes. So very good. Uh, on this occasion, I would like to thank our additional director, sir, joint director, sir, my co-subject coordinator, Ranjita madam, and all the presenters who have been supporting us in all the way in taking up these webinar sessions. So thank you, madam, and thank you, students. Thank you, sir. Thank you, the whole team members of webinar. Okay, Manjari madam, Shailaja madam, and everyone whoever has supported us. Thank you very much, madam. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.